I broadly played down the significance of the skin discoloration as part of the air embolus because the local staff had not realized its significance and had not documented the information at the time. The scientific papers regarding this condition go back decades, really. The most commonly quoted scientific paper was 30 years old, but it is a very good paper, and I must have been aware of it because not only did I know about the fact that air embolus can cause sudden unexpected collapse and death, but I also noted on the second baby this peculiar abnormality of the skin, in other words, discoloration of the skin that came and went. And this was noted in a number of the babies, most of whom died, not all, and was documented in many babies, but not all, because the medical team clearly didn't appreciate the significance of this discoloration. Another baby was found to have air bubble in the brain. So the air would have gone from the aorta to the coronary artery in one case, or to the arteries supplying the brain in another case. But in more cases, because babies are managed lying on their back, the highest bit of the baby is the abdomen. Yeah. Therefore, the air would get into the blood vessels supplying the skin. And this would explain this weird discoloration. The clinical team would have never seen this before or since, and they didn't realize the significance of what they were seeing.
There was talk of that one journal.
We all quoted that journal.
And this rash, this kind of purpley, blotchy rash, became quite a feature of the case.
But we come back to the rash again that keeps coming up in this trial.
So, to begin, I will give you a little bit of background on the publications of air embolism. The prosecution, in part, based their allegation on a paper that I had written in 1989, where I described all 57 cases that had been published to that point in time. And it showed that the babies would present with a certain number of symptoms or signs, and also that about 10% of them had skin discolorations of different kinds. At that time, I did not distinguish between arterial and venous air embolism. And in this particular case, the allegation is that she injected air into the venous system, into the veins. So there's a difference between arterial and venous, because the arteries carry blood to the body to supply the organs and the skin, whereas the veins actually carry blood away from the organs or the skin to the heart and to the lungs. And in the new paper that I had published in December of 2024 in the American Journal of Perinatology, a copy of which will be in the summary report that you will receive, we actually separated the cases with arterial venous air embolism from the cases with venous air embolism. And what we found was that in the cases where air was injected into the veins, there were no cases of patchy skin discolorations ever described in the literature. So the notion that these babies can be diagnosed with air embolism because they collapsed and had these skin discolorations has no evidence in fact. All right? None of this actually has ever been described. If this is true, it would be the first case ever described, but it's never been. And there's a reason for that. The reason is that in the arterial system, when you inject air into the arterial system, it goes directly to the skin or the blood vessels, or to the organs. Whereas in the venous system, it has to go to the lungs first. And the lungs has a complex bed of very small blood vessels that filters out all the air bubbles if they come through, so that they don't actually get to the arterial system. Now, in newborn babies, there's a hole called the foramen ovale in the heart, which can allow the blood to actually move over to the arterial system. But it has to go against pressure, because the pressure in the arterial system is higher than in the venous. And so what we found in the literature was that there were no cases that have been described where, in fact, these skin rashes have occurred. So let's do away with that theory, all right? the notion that these cases are air embolism because they collapsed and because there were skin rashes has no basis in evidence. Okay, let's be very clear about that.
This baby would not have died but for Letby's interference. What I'm sure occurred was that he was stabilizing. She was on duty. It was coming up to midnight. She went into his nursery. She injected him intravenously with air. That caused immediate collapse and also explains why resuscitation failed. That is what I am now confident happened in to this particular baby.
Death or injury of all the affected infants were due either to natural causes or to errors in medical care. There were serious problems related to medical care of patients at this hospital. There were problems related to teamwork and interdisciplinary collaboration at the Countess of Chester Neonatal Unit. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, we did not find any murders. In all cases, death or injury were due to natural causes or just bad medical care. Lucy was charged with 7 murders and 7 attempted murders. In our opinion, the medical evidence doesn't support murder in any of these babies, just natural causes and bad medical care.